Hello. So welcome on, guys. I think I am live. Looks like I'm live. So thanks for being here. I'm just hanging out in my hammock here. It's like the sun is we're getting closer to sunset. It'll be in like an hour or so. And the beach is just down there. I can actually hear the waves. You might not hear them on the call though. So if you're joining us, if you want to write in the comments, I think I should be able to see them. Let me see if I can invite. Oh, I see a like. And I see someone's on live. Post a comment. I just want to make sure that I'm actually showing. Okay. Just let me know that you can hear me. If you're watching the replay, I apologize. This is some of the fun and, doing live stuff. So anyway, so what I'm going to talk about today. Oh, hey, Balash, welcome. Okay, so I am showing in the showing. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Tara. Awesome. So I'm going to talk about 3 things to avoid when building your dream business. And, I always share kind of stories about me and things I go through. I share struggles, I share challenges that I face. And, hey, Balash, thanks for being on. And I'm very transparent in everything, right? Like we share a lot of stuff about also how-tos. You may have seen our webinar series and, we have our course and all of that stuff. Hey, Carrie, hola, thanks for coming on. And as I kind of mentioned in the post if you didn't read it, but I'm always thinking of that person that I was when I started. And I remember the feeling, I remember how, there's a lot of overwhelm, there's a lot of confusion, just feeling lost and just like my brain was going to really explode because there was so much information. And so I'm going to go through, no, I know you did, and you rocked the results and just results in general. Hey, Latoya, welcome on. Thanks for coming on. So I'm going to talk about the 3 things. So first, and you may have heard this, you may not, and it may almost seem common sense, and if not, I really want you to think about it. Cicadas, not yet. It's not the time yet. The cicadas come out when it's almost sunset. We're not there yet. Romeo's in Canada right now in the cold. Even though it's spring, he's still cold. So those 3 things. The first thing, which I see so many people doing, and I think even sometimes they don't realize it, and I can relate to this because it's this feeling like you just want to accomplish certain things. I see a lot of people try to go it alone, where you're trying to build your business and you almost want to just figure things out by yourself. And even if you plug in with a community, even if you plug in somewhere, you kind of go off on your own and you just try to figure things out. And I can tell you that that can be one of the biggest hurdles and struggles, because when you're alone and you're in your head and you're going through all this information and trying to find stuff, it's just, there's no outside perspective. There's no perspective to help you to see how you can improve or see something that you may not see, or it might take you a while to see. And I know for me, this was a big thing. And it was kind of a bit of ego too, because my ego was I can figure it out. I'll figure it out by myself, and I'll just watch the trainings and I'll just kind of plug away and I won't ask questions, right? And it's not a good thing. In this space, you got to reach out and you got to, plug in with a community like this, like Freedom Vibes, and ask questions, interact, and all of that, because it can help you. And it also helps because you see other people and what they kind of maybe struggle with, or what they overcame, or solutions, or something like that. But if you don't make that effort to do that, then you could be facing a challenge, and it's just going to take you that much longer to get through it. And then another thing too, which I see, especially if you're already building a business, let's say you're in network marketing, and you actually are supposed to kind of work in a team, but maybe you've been abandoned. Maybe your upline, they're supposed to be helping, and I'm not talking about hand holding here, but they just disappeared, right? There's no one around that you can even ask. It's still kind of like your duty to go out and to search for people and find communities that you can plug in with where you can get help, right? And so even if you have been abandoned, and we had this experience too, and we signed up, we joined a company, and it was like our mentors weren't there. They were just like, kind of like, we, join us here, but we're not doing this actively. And so we kind of had to figure it out. But, we kind of at that point already knew we had to reach out, and we had to ask people questions. We had to plug in somewhere, because it would just take way longer to get through anything. And so, part of it can be ego, and part of it can be kind of this thing where I kind of find this personality too online where, because you're working on the computer, it's like, I don't know what kind of personality you have. I'm more of an introvert. And so it's easier for me to work alone, right? It's a little bit easier because I can just go off and just do my own thing, right? And maybe you're like that. Maybe you're just kind of sitting behind the computer, just trying to figure things out. But this can be a huge hurdle, and this can increase the amount of time it takes for you to get to that success you want to get to. Plug in. And so you're in Freedom Vibes, plug in with us. I'm here. You can see, sometimes I'm just on Facebook all day refreshing and posting things and responding and all of that. But there's a really amazing community of people here that are on a similar path. Maybe they're building a different business. Everyone is in a different business, but everyone here is on that path. And so you don't have to feel like you're doing it alone. You can plug in with people that understand this dream and this desire of doing something different than from maybe what people are doing around you in the physical real world, offline, right? And, maybe you're not surrounded by people that are supportive at all. Well, it makes it that much more important to plug in with people that are supportive and that are encouraging and that tell you that you're not crazy, or maybe you are crazy and we're just all crazy together, right? But as long as you can feel united in that. So don't go it alone. Don't kind of unplug and try to go off and figure it out. Or at the same time, if you have been sort of abandoned, don't let that sit for too long. Go out and actively look for people. And I would say, plug in here. Plug into Freedom Vibes. We're all here. It's about growing your business online, whatever that business may be, whether you're a network marketer, affiliate marketer, a coach, maybe you have your own business, maybe you even have an offline business that you want to learn to market online, right? All of that is here. We have our webinar series and we post content and training and all of that. And more importantly, this group is about freedom. This group is about creating your version of freedom. And so we're united in that here. The second thing, and I'm kind of looking at my notes, right? I don't want to miss anything. So second thing, and I've been there, and I think a lot of people have been there, is don't start learning too many things and not implementing. If you try to take, kind of bite off more than you can chew, where you're constantly learning, and you're not implementing, this is the number one reason of overwhelm. It's just too much is happening. Too much is going on in your head, and there's not enough of that output, right? It's kind of like, and I think this is a good analogy, it's like if you just sit and eat all day and you don't expend that energy, what happens? It gets stuck. It gets stored in your body, and it's not healthy. It's the same for information in your head. When you put a lot of information in, it's good to kind of put that information out, right? Actually put it into action and put it into experience, because that's actually where the true learning begins. When you actually start implementing, the theory is good because you have the theory, but when you put that theory into practice, you learn so much more and you learn so much faster and you start getting results. And this is what it's all about. It's about the results, right? And so, and I know I've been there too. Sometimes you do need to learn some things. Obviously you need to learn and keep learning, but don't keep going down that path of only learning, because, and yeah, Balash, I know you talk a lot about this, about how you kind of got stuck in that. And everyone does, I think. I did too. And it's just having the awareness of saying, okay, I'm learning a lot of stuff. It's cool information. but I need to actually go out there. And there is a bit of fear there because it's uncomfortable to go out and to actually implement because you're going out of your comfort zone, right? And we understand that here, right? We understand that as entrepreneurs. And so again, that supportive community can help you and encourage you to move forward and to take action, right? So that's why as much as possible, Romeo and I, when we create trainings, there's always a focus on implementation. As much as possible, it's always about, okay, here's the info, and now go do this. Go do these exact steps, right? So it's not just about dumping information, it's about giving you actionable steps to do, right? So for example, webinar 1, we teach how to get into top posts on Instagram. And I see a ton of people implementing it. It's super awesome, and they're actually getting into top posts just like that, right? And it's because it's clear, and it's because there's actionable content there, right? We want to give you actionable content. And now third is lack of clarity. Lack of clarity in business and your business goals, right? You know, sometimes, and we can all kind of get lost here too, right? We can all kind of lose that clarity, and it's important to focus on that, to focus on your vision and what you're actually building here. But there's another aspect to this, and the aspect is that, and this is what I was kind of stuck into, this idea that as an entrepreneur, that I can't really decide how my business is going to look, right? That I kind of, you might even become a slave to your business, right? And you don't want that, right? Especially if, maybe you're in a situation where you're working a job and you're building your business on the side, right? You're putting that extra time in after work or on the weekends, right? You want to also make sure that the business you're actually building isn't another jail cell, right? I mean, if you love your job, that's cool, right? But if you don't replace one thing you hate with another thing you hate. Right? That's not why you're here. You're here to build your dream business. And what does that look like, right? You want to actually have that clarity in knowing, okay, when I get to that point when I quit my job, or if you've already quit your job, what does your day look like? What do you want your day to look like? What kind of stuff do you want to do during the day? I don't think you're going to want to work on your business 24/7. Yes, of course you have to put in the effort. Yes, of course you have to work. And there will be days when you might work all day. And the thing is that when you love it, it's good, right? You love it, you want to work on it. But at the same time, having leverage, having time freedom, having the ability to, profit and to actually be able to go do the things you actually love, like travel, spend time with family, take up new hobbies, like do weird and crazy things, have new experiences. Your lifestyle has to allow for that in terms of time, right? And having that clarity, even though in the beginning you might be working a lot more, but the payoff has to be that more and more you get more of that leverage. What was your day look like in your dreams when you quit your job? Like, you mean me specifically? Like, well, at the time I was like a personal trainer, and so I was already kind of in control of my schedule. But even before that, I worked in a call center and it was absolutely horrible. I hated it. And that's when I was like, I should be an entrepreneur. So I became a personal trainer. But then it was the same situation where I was working, indirect, like my time was still traded for money because I had to literally be there one-on-one to train someone. And I had no leverage of being able to leave, like being able to pick up and travel because I had to be there physically, right? So for me, it was also about this leverage of creating a business online where, for example, I could shoot a video and then I could post that video, and then that video can be, people can be watching that, and I could be going off doing other things, right? And so that's what caught me. And then for Romeo, he was working like 10 to 12-hour days as a fast food manager, which was like just crazy work. And, he had like injuries and all of this stuff, and he was just working like a dog. Like he was just, it was crazy. Like people called him a robot because he worked so much. And for him, just the thought of leaving that and then having time, it was almost like this, almost impossible to imagine, but then it happened. And then it was kind of like, what did we do with all this time? And we started traveling and took up hobbies and all of this stuff, right? But, it can happen. And even though when we started, I kind of had an idea of what was possible, I still didn't necessarily see how I could be living it, right? Because you go through that, you go through those experiences, And experience is what really helps you to really see it and really to kind of anchor how it can actually be. So it was like a theory, but then because we did have that clarity, we read the 4-Hour Work Week and we understood, hey, Wendy, it's hard to imagine. It can be. And sometimes, and people say this a lot, that you have to believe it before you see it. And it is true. But it's not one of those things where, it's more like you have to believe in the possibility of it. You'll get there where you'll believe to that level. But for me, it was just thinking like, this is possible. Maybe. Right? It's possible, and this is what I want. And that was a huge thing, because I realized this is what I want. And I was okay where I understood, like, if I fail, okay, I fail. But I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put, everything into this, because this is my dream. And I know there's other people doing it, right? And so even also being in a community like this and knowing that there's other people that are living their dreams, that they're traveling the world and they have this digital business and, they're really following their dreams, seeing that can make it more real for you, right? And can it make it more and more and more believable for you, where you can believe that it's possible for you. And as you're building your business, as you're taking action, as you're implementing and getting results, those results start to fuel that belief more and more and more, right? But you do got to get into action. So all of that kind of combined, and these are things I see people not doing. I see people trying to go it alone. So right away, it becomes 100 times harder to get there, because all of these other things aren't in play. You can't be encouraged. You can't raise that belief because you're on your own. You're kind of on your own on an island somewhere floating around on the internet where you can't look at other people to inspire you, right? And you also can't directly communicate with them because you're trying to do it by yourself, right? So don't unplug. Plug into the community because it can help. Then, just learning too much. Getting stuck in learning, right? It's good because you're taking that step of learning, but now take it to the next step and implement. And start implementing just step by step, day by day, right? And as you do that, everything starts to work, right? You start to create momentum and compound in your business and belief and all of this, and you start getting results, and those results are motivating within themselves to keep you going. Hey, not sure if you've answered this question already, but I was just wondering how you started in the beginning before you knew how to coach people in online business. It was affiliate marketing. It was like a business opportunity where we were learning about online marketing, and at the same time, we were selling online marketing tools and things like that, and plugging them into that community. And at the same time, we're earning commissions. So it was like, and then we got into other stuff, like we even sold T-shirts and stuff like that. So it was a lot of affiliate marketing. The information is overwhelming at times. I know, and it can be, Wendy. And again, that's why it's important to plug in, right? And it's important to kind of take a step or to reach out even if you can find an accountability partner, right? Something like that where you can find that, and communities like this can provide that, right? So, yeah. And so Tara, just affiliate marketing, right? And what I would do is I would always recommend to start with your passion, where you are at. And I had this kind of natural thing where I progressed to wanting to learn about online marketing, and so it became natural for me to kind of sell and start to kind of work in that way, because even being a personal trainer, I liked working with people. I liked helping people transform. And so I kind of took that into this online space, and I really devoted myself to learning and mastering the skills myself, so that, because I knew that as I was going to start to share that information and help other people. So it's kind of like you're taking these steps, and at the same time, and this is why it's different. That's why it's also, it can be uncomfortable, because you feel like you're a student, and at the same time you're kind of a teacher too. But that's how it is, because this is how you're going to drive results, because as you keep going, as you're implementing and sharing that content, right, and sharing kind of what you're learning, sharing your journey, you're automatically helping other people. So you have to share it, because if you don't, right, if you don't kind of put that passion out there, then other people can't be reached, and you also won't make any money, right? I mean, money is tied to that because we're all customers of things, right? We all love to buy certain things because they bring value into our life. And so you're bringing that value to people, and you have to keep sharing that, right? But start with where you are, and start with what, kind of like knowing where you are in your journey, and keep going forward from that, and not get too hung up on over there, right? Because I know people can get caught up in that too. Like, I'm not over there where I'm like super successful and I have all this like proof and all of this stuff. How can I do it now? How can I make money now? How can I build my business now? How can I help people now? Right? But you have to bring it back to here and now, and understand that whatever niche you're in, whatever you're building, you've taken steps that other people haven't, right? And you have passions and you have knowledge in things that other people don't. And you may be sharing, kind of an artistic thing, right? A creative kind of artistic expression of something. And that's your gift, right? That's your gift to the world. And so whatever you decide, it's hard not to compare to others doing the same thing. And it can be, because I can get caught up in comparison too. But you got to think of it in where you focus also on what you're doing and implementing. And mindset has a lot to do with that, right? Starting your day with gratitude, focusing on how far you've come, focusing on your own wins, and continuing to do that can help to not compare yourself and judge yourself according to other people. I think a lot of people are going on their own because it's really hard to open your credit card to buy courses, because basically all of the information are available on the... And a lot of people believe the... Yeah, I know what you're saying, Balash. I mean, honestly, like today, you can go on YouTube, you can Google anything, right? But first off, when you do that, like, I know there's young kids that are teaching stuff right on YouTube, and they may be teaching it, but if it's also got to do with like making money or like getting certain results, but they're not getting those results, then who are you learning from too? And also, when you can plug in with a mentor that you can kind of relate to, and you kind of want to go down that path, then they can show you the fastest route to get there without you kind of getting swamped into all this information and having to sift through it yourself, right? So that's kind of the power of that, because I can tell you, okay, I made this mistake, or I did this, don't do that, right? And then you don't have to go through that hurdle and that extra time of going through all of those mistakes, right? Or maybe learning something you don't even need to learn. And that can also reduce overwhelm, right? Because if you're constantly getting stuck in trying to find the next step by Googling things and by YouTubing things, it's great, but is it information you even need? And you can't really know that yourself until you start actually implementing it, right? So again, it's like one of those things. That's why a mentor... okay, thanks, Wendy, for coming on. Appreciate you. That's why when you plug in with a mentor and with a community, they can kind of drive you forward in do this. Just do this, right? And that fastest route to get there without all the extra fluff, without all the extra kind of unnecessary stuff, right? And again, that was kind of us when we got started. It took us about 8 months where we were actually going to create our own product. Romeo created a physical product, and we wanted to sell it online. And we were doing everything by ourselves. It's easier to model after successful people rather than figure it out, right? Because, they say success leaves clues, and you follow those clues, right? And we share those clues, and mentors share those clues and those steps, so you don't have to figure them out, right? And so Romeo and I we're looking at everything, like marketing information, and we bought all these courses, and we just didn't even know what to look for, right? So for like 8 months we were trying to build a business we didn't know how to build, trying to sell something we'd never sold, and trying to do marketing we'd never done. And so it just kind of flopped, and we didn't end up selling it. We ended up doing more affiliate marketing because it was easier, and we could plug in with a community, we could plug in with mentors, and with the kind of like a system where we were like, do this, right? And we're like, okay, cool, this makes sense to me. And we started making money really fast. Like, it was like our first like week or something, and we were just like, you know, going through, and I remember getting like that first commission and all of that stuff, and it was really awesome. And so, but it took a while to get there, right? It took a while to get there where we were, like, I'll say also it was a bit of an ego thing, right? Wanting to figure out by yourself, which there's nothing wrong with that. And it's good to be resourceful, but be willing to have help, be willing to ask for help too. And I know that's a learning lesson for me and for Romeo as well, because we're definitely those kinds of people that were like, you know, we'll go out there, we'll figure it out. Right, we're going to just gun for it and, like, you know, bloody knuckles and just, like, figure it out. But it's good because you have that drive, and that drive is really important. But be willing to ask for help and be willing to be open-minded and be like, okay, you know, maybe this person is offering me help or advice, and I can take that and not have to go through all this other stuff that maybe I don't need to do, right? So that kind of thing. So, thanks guys for coming on. I don't know how long I've been on, but I see I have viewers, so I really appreciate you for viewing. And one thing that we're going to be releasing in like the next like couple days is we're going to be, because we're revamping our webinars, and we're going to be releasing a webinar, actually kind of expanding on this topic and talking, I'm going to actually teach you really kind of quick, but about Facebook ads. So really simple Facebook ads. And then the 3 things that you need to focus on daily in your business, so you can weed through and not get so overwhelmed, and know what 3 things to focus on in your business daily to profit, right? So that's what we're coming out with, that, and then kind of expanding on some things and talking more about leverage and automation, right? About really creating that dream lifestyle and that dream business and what that really means. So if you're excited about that and you want to get access to that, let me know in the comments. And I'll be sure to share that ASAP. Just excited to share that information with you. And again, thanks for coming on. You know, leave me your comments, leave me your feedback, and see you guys in the group. Pura vida.